It is already the 19th of April. Time is flying and it's crawling, right? We might be experiencing a little bit of both. Before I get too deep into Unchurch here, I want to make sure that my live streams are up and running. That's a big part of the deal. I am, of course, streaming this from my fan page on Facebook from Domestic Mystic. That's probably how you're watching it. You may be watching it on YouTube after the fact. Either way, welcome. I hope that you guys are having a good day. I hope that you've had a decent week. I know it's been a mixed bag, right? So we're going to talk about that. Okay, great. There is the live stream. I'm going to share it into a group here quickly, and we will get moving. All righty. Here we go. So again, good morning and welcome to Unchurch. I'm so glad you guys are here. I am Katie Weaver, and I am the mistress of ceremonies, I guess. The idea behind Unchurch has always been that we would spread a little light and love on Sunday mornings, maybe bring a little bit of inspiration your way to get you going, and that remains to be the goal. Unchurch will last about 20 minutes. I am not here to keep you a long time. What's the saying? You're not here for a good time, a long time. You're here for a good time, right? That's what they say when you get up to plate to bat. Yep. Lots of changes this week. I don't know about you guys, but where I live, basically all of our schools went ahead and announced that we are closed for the rest of the year. That also meant that my daughter's softball season came to an end, and that was pretty devastating. I was thinking about the resiliency that these kids are developing and our obligation to help them develop resiliency through this, because there's also been an enormous amount of disappointment. More disappointment than most of us have ever had to deal with, at least at this age or at this capacity. I think it's our obligation to help them through it, but also to be very sensitive to what they are going through and careful that we're not judging harshly, that we aren't expecting them to get over something instantly that maybe we wouldn't get over so quickly either. I think right now it is our obligation to show an extreme amount of care and of compassion to all of the kids, the students. I noticed a friend of mine's son graduated from college a couple of days ago with zero fanfare whatsoever, unfortunately. And yet, it's a bachelor's degree. Life will go on. He'll use that bachelor's degree to his benefit. Knowing that kid, he'll probably just use it as a stepping stone to move on to his master's degree. But, right now, we have an obligation to our kids and to ourselves to be compassionate, to recognize that they are going through an enormous trauma and not push them too hard and not expect more than we maybe would have expected out of ourselves. I already see society doing that. Let's back off a little on the millennials and on the younger generation. They are doing the best they can, just like we are, right? No one's ever done this before. We don't know. We're doing the best we can. I want to share good news. That's always a big part of Unchurch. If you think that my face looks swollen, it does. I don't know why. I woke up like this. I think I did have a glass of wine last night, so maybe I'm paying for it. But I also have the opportunity to sit around a campfire, so maybe I'm paying for that. But I don't care. It was worth it. It was worth every bit of smoke in my face. But I did notice that I'm showing it this morning, but who cares, right? Not me. Okay. So, a musician uses truck bed to play drive-by concerts for friends in quarantine. So he loaded up the back of his pickup, drove all over town into driveways and parking lots, and just played his guitar and sang, put on a concert. Isn't that sweet? Where I live locally, last week, a few weeks ago, a gentleman and a man and a woman loaded up a trailer that they pulled behind their pickup that they had a full band set up on. And they were pulling up to nursing homes and setting up out front and playing full concerts for the nursing homes so that the residents could come to the windows and at least hear them and maybe see them sing. It was really, really sweet, What a kind gesture. What a beautiful thing to do. We've always known music would save us in some capacity, didn't we? More than 20,000 Wi Fi devices are being donated to hospitals so patients can talk to families in quarantine. That is an invaluable gesture right now. Imagine having someone with COVID or perhaps with something else or in a nursing home that you don't get to see. Imagine having someone in ICU with COVID and you can't see them. That's happening. People are dying that way. And I don't mean to be a downer here, that's just the truth. But what is happening is that nurses are using FaceTime or, another YouTube or Snapchat or Facebook or lots of other, video conferencing ways to be able to let patients see their families and let their families see them. It is invaluable. It's an invaluable service right now. So the idea that we have more devices being donated so that people can see their families, that's huge. It's absolutely huge. UC Berkeley is offering up their popular Science of Happiness course for free online. I think that in itself is an extremely lovely gesture and something that we should take them up on. The Science of Happiness. Down to the cellular level, down to the nitty-gritty. What is happiness about? What does it mean? Where does it come from? Well, they're going to tell you. It may help you snare a little more for yourself or to spread a little bit more to others. So, absolutely worth it. For the first time in 240 years, white-tailed eagles spotted flying over England. 240 years, you guys. That is phenomenal news. Wow. What an honor to get to see one, huh? Yeah, the skies are clearing. Maybe we need to stay in quarantine. Mother Earth says yes. The next time you're feeling particularly stressed, science says play Tetris. I thought that was interesting. Play Tetris because it helps you to create order. And when you're feeling stressed and out of control, order is something you need. So I felt like that might also work for people who are feeling the need to control something when their lives are out of control. Tetris, who knew? Pretty cool. As coal usage declines throughout the United States, a new study is finding a dramatic decrease in asthma symptoms and hospitalizations. That's enormous. For anyone who suffers from asthma, it's very much out of your hands sometimes. And the idea that globally, as we quit using fossil fuels as much and we start cleaning up our environment, that air quality improves that much. Wow, it's worth it. Because you know what? We hit a point where more and more and more people, and children particularly, were suffering from asthma. So, wow, what a gift. A Swiss village has been projecting world flags onto their tallest mountains in solidarity of the pandemic. It's really cool. You have to go find that and see it. All of the articles I'm sharing for you today are coming from the Good News Network, so you can go check that out. But that is really cool. What a lovely thing to do. Okay. Sam's Club is offering hero shopping hours to healthcare workers regardless of memberships. That's a beautiful gift. Mom has been bringing joy to neighbors by drawing amusing chalk cartoons on her sidewalk, and she's very gifted. It's really cool. We have a doctor in the town that I live in that is an unbelievable chalk artist. What's he doing wasting his time being a doctor? I kid, but he is creating these unbelievable landscapes, like of his entire driveway, so that people can drive by and see them. Pretty fun. Notre Dame has rung the cathedral bell for healthcare workers 1 year after its fire. They rebuilt, as will we, right? As will we. Pretty amazing. Okay. Well, there's actually a lot more good news. I'm not going to share it all. I'm going to let you go find some for yourself, but a lot of really cool stuff happening. Now, I know it's not all cool. I know some of you are suffering. I'm seeing it. I understand. There's some suffering going on in my world too. I understand that entirely. We share the good news because we need to remember that we really are going to come through this. We really are, in some capacity, going to be okay. Sometimes when someone's suffering, telling them things are going to be okay comes across as a little trite or maybe even a little cruel in not necessarily honoring what they are going through. And I don't want you to think that I am cutting back on what you are going through. I want you to know that I recognize that a lot of you are suffering. I know that a lot of you have been suffering financially. You may have been suffering physically. You may be suffering emotionally, and you certainly may be going through some grief in your families. And I understand that. I do want you to know that I want to be sensitive to that. I want you to know that I do care. Absolutely. Uh, One kind of fun thing that happened in my family this week, yesterday, my uncle got married. About 2.5 years ago, he said goodbye to his beloved wife of a gazillion years. And he's in his mid 70s. And gosh, is that just it? Well, no. He started going to dances and he met a lovely, lovely lady who's also widowed and looking for someone to nurture and love on and spend the rest of her days with. And they were supposed to have a big fun party for a wedding. And as we all know, that couldn't happen right now. What they did have was a tiny gathering on her back deck with a handful of immediate family, and they got married. And I'm just so excited about it because you know what? At the end of the day, love is where it's at, right? And I just couldn't be more thrilled for them. So, congratulations to my Uncle Theron. I just am over the moon excited for him and for his lovely new bride. How exciting. And I hope that they have many, many years to celebrate each other. Very sweet stuff. Okay. What I wanted to do is pull a card for you guys today and then address that subject. Though I did have a quote I wanted to share from Irma Bombeck. Irma Bombeck said, "When humor goes, there goes civilization." I thought that was just so true. We have to find a way to keep laughing, right? We have to find a way to keep amusing ourselves. We have to keep finding ways to be entertained and entertain each other because laughter is so good for you. It's good for your soul. Of course, it's good for you emotionally. It's good for your body. Laughter's like exercise. I think you know, right? Have you ever laughed so hard that you were in pain? It was like intense exercise. Have you ever laughed so hard that the next day your ribs hurt all day long? That's happened to me lots of times, unfortunately. Or no, fortunately. But at the end of the day, laughter's where it's at, right? So I do hope, it's my greatest hope actually for you guys this week, that you can find plenty of things to laugh about. Because even when things are weird, even when things are tough, there is a lot of joy in the world. If you can't find something to laugh about, I can probably help you out. I don't know. Found a new comedian recently. She's not necessarily new to me. Fortune Feimster. She is hilarious. She has a new special on Netflix, and she is on Facebook, and she has a podcast, and she is hysterical. I absolutely loved her. So I've been really enjoying her. But you guys that know me know that I listen to comedy every day. I do. I listen to comedy when I shower and get ready for the day. There's something for me about laughing and brightening up that's really, really important. So that's something that I always want to share and encourage you to do is find some things to laugh about. Or better yet, make someone else laugh. All right. I'm going to pull a card out of the Tarot of Transformation. This deck has been sitting on a shelf for more than a year. It was a gift from a client. And at the time, I think I just grazed through it and didn't really, pay much attention to it. Yesterday, I was looking for a deck to work on a new project, and I pulled this off the shelf, and I cannot believe I let it sit there for this long. What a fool. This is a gorgeous deck. So it's called the Tarot of Transformation. It is created by Willow Arlena and Jasmine Lee Corey. If you're interested in it, it is beautiful. I just thought it might be a nice thing today to just pull a card. This is a general message for the week, and then we'll explore it a little bit more. Okay, the card is from the Healer of Swords. It is mapping the mind. So, what does it have to do with us? Well, a lot. So, this is a week where we're going to start seeing some movement. We're going to start seeing some changes. We're going to see in some places some bits of quarantine lifting. We're going to see a lot of consternation about that. And this is a week where we are going to see a lot of conflict at home, at work, and in the world. A lot of differing opinions right now. People just at their breaking point with things. We need to know. We need to be very careful about communication skills. We need to recognize what's important. And at this point, we need to be careful that we don't burn relationships to the ground. This is a bad time for that. And it might be easy to do. So, how does mapping the mind play into that? Well, it has a lot to do with your own attitude, with your own self talk, and with the way you have already chosen to behave, to speak, and to see the world. I am going to encourage you to use positive affirmations this week. Positive affirmations are a really easy way to boost your energy, to give you a little extra oomph if you need it, and to change your attitude. When I was in high school, we had a vice principal who he was in charge of discipline, and a lot of kids kind of railroaded him or steamrolled him actually. And one of the things he had designed was detention. And detention was initially called AAS. It was Attitude Adjustment School. Well, people thought that was hilarious because it sounded a little too much like ass, And so, we're high school kids. So it was having AAS with the ASS. So he changed it. He shortened it to AA, Attitude Adjustment. So if you were in trouble, you were headed to Attitude Adjustment. And, as we all know, AA stands for other things. It made it twice as hilarious, but I don't know if he ever really understood how funny that all was. I think people got sent to AA on purpose just so they could say they were going to AA, but I digress. But Attitude Adjustment School or Attitude Adjustment was meant to get kids in line. Well, that stuck with me all my life because it was, well, notable. But I think we all need an attitude adjustment from time to time. I know that I do occasionally, sometimes in the mornings, we all feel this way sometimes, right? In the mornings, you're stomping around, doing your chores, getting your stuff done, and you're just in that place. Well, maybe you need an attitude adjustment. Maybe if you've had a conflict with everybody in your house, you need to stop and consider that perhaps right now, maybe you are the problem, right? So, attitude adjustments. And that's what I think we're going to need to look at this week. How do you adjust your attitude? Well, there's a few ways. Positive affirmations help. Positive affirmations are a positive statement that you repeat to yourself, sometimes over and over again, to help you shift your energy. The statement doesn't necessarily have to be true and accurate for the moment, right? If you woke up on the wrong side of the bed and you're already pissed off, and then you burn your tongue on your coffee and you stub your toe and the dog pees on the floor, and you have this laundry list of things happening, the positive affirmation might be, I am having a fantastic day. Is it true? Are you having a fantastic day? Well, not right now. But it doesn't mean that you can't, right? It means that right now in this moment, yes, you are having a less than fantastic day, but you're going to create one, right? Positive affirmations are built that way. Again, they might not be true in the moment, but they are what you are aspiring to. I a lot of times find myself running late. And a statement I found myself really guilty of saying was, there's not enough hours in the day to blah, blah, blah. And I realized that That's exactly what I was manifesting. It's what I was telling the world, that there's not enough hours in the day for me to do what I want. And so I created a new positive affirmation. It wasn't true in the moment, but it became true for me. And the affirmation was, I have all of the time in the world to accomplish my goals. I have all of the time in the world to accomplish my goals. That changed a lot of things for me, actually. So if you need some help with an affirmation, throw it up here in this chat and I will help you craft one for whatever it is that you are experiencing. But throughout the week, let's remember staying positive. Maybe you'll put a positive affirmation out into, on the internet. Maybe you'll put one on your fridge. Maybe you'll come up with one that you're going to repeat to your kids every time they start beating each other up. Whatever it is. But ultimately, let's look at positive affirmations this week in a way to mind map, to change the game in our brain, to give ourselves an attitude adjustment. I promised I would take about 20 minutes of your time, and I've done so. So I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for coming. Of course, I'll be back here, same place, same time. If you would like to know more about me, katie-weaver.com is where to go. Thanks you guys so much for being here, and happy Sunday.